Okay, now we will try to add a deletion button, because if we here now adding a location, we can't remove it anymore. For that, we will go in our code and we'll go in our weather card header and we'll add here a new button that allows us to delete a card. As you can see here, we have this flex container with here one element, here a second one, and we will place our button right there. For that, we will make a container for our button. It will have a click event that we fill out later, and yeah, it will use again a button with an icon. I think it's Met button. We can take a look in our location search to see the button. We want to have the same one as here. For that, we paste it inside of here and removing the disabled that we will fill out later. We have Met icon that we currently not having, and there we want to use the delete icon. Okay, firstly, we have to import the modules that we need inside of the imports, which means we need the material button module here. We also need the Met icon module. And last but not least, we have to create a function that allows us to delete the card. For that, we will firstly create a new output for our component, naming it here delete weather card. This will be also a signal, because Angular has now input and output functions to allow us to use signals in any kind of way. Here it will be a simple void function that only get called when we clicking on the button. Ready to learn Angular 19, 20 and 21. This course covers everything new in this latest versions. From hydration, event replay, resource API, signal forms, we cover it all. You will get a complete playground app showcasing all features. Plus, we will build a weather app from scratch to implement everything hands-on. Full source code for both projects included. Check the link in the description. We can remove this two elements to clean up this component. Here we will make the delete weather for weather card clicked, and this will call our new output delete weather card emit, like that. And here we're calling now delete weather card clicked. So what we now can do is go in our weather card component and doing the same thing. We will make a delete weather card output. Will be again a void function. Or let us go with a string. And then we also clean this thing up here, making here we move forecast, and in this function we will call our output again. In this case we will use our input signal to get the current value of the variable. In this case, it's this.weather key, and then getting the current value of the signal again. Now we want to call that function if we're clicking on it in the header. For that, we will call here our function. Our weather, remove weather card, I think would be the better name. So what we now have done is that we kind of forwarding the event. Here we calling the function. This one emits with this output it one level up. The weather card then waiting for the event to be emitted and calling its own function. And this one again going over an output to the next component above, which in our case is the main page. And here we can now delete weather card. So, but now we need to create a function in the service, in our data service. Here we want to create a function that allows us to delete weather card for location. Here we want the location name, and then we update our weather card store with the update function. As always, we get the current store value as an argument, and then we deleting the specific key, like here the location name, and then returning it again this thing now, getting the current value, deleting the key value, which means the city of it, and then it spreads it again over a new object, because then we telling Angular that this is a new reference, and it knows that it has then to update all its computed values. Okay, now we has to create here the function. This will be here delete weather card key string, and here we're calling then our service with the delete weather card for location with the key. And last but not least, we have to here call our function. And what is important here is that we using this $event, because with this we get a value that this output event emitter provides us and transferring it to our function. When we now take a look in our UI, you see here we have an icon that is currently not enabled. Quickly let us look. We have our weather card header. Here we have this one. I think we don't need. For this we will add a class white color and go in our CSS, and eventually we already have, eventually this is a good color for us. We will try to use that. Okay, let us go with a solid white. So now we have a relatively clear delete button, and we can click on it to delete the data from our store. In the next section, we will then enable the user to forecast the weather data, because at the moment, if you're searching for Barcelona, for example, and adding them, you see that here you see the day, like today, and you see the same data below. And we want now to have this forecast data to be an additional information, which means we will add a button that allows the user to click on, and then we will load additional data for this data set. And also we will save that data, that if the date changes, it will then get a different data set to be always the forecast of the next days.